Hello, Year 11 students and parents and carers of Year 11 students, if you are also following this presentation along. My name is Mrs. Oates and I am the Key Stage 5 Coordinator for A-Level English Language, as well as being the Curriculum Area Leader for English as well. Thank you for choosing to walk through this presentation with me. Hopefully this means that you already have an interest in studying the subject, and by the end of the presentation you should have a clearer idea of whether this particular A-level is right for you. Now, at the moment I am currently 3 weeks away from my due date for having a baby, but this does mean I will be back to work next September. So if you choose to study this course, I will be back teaching you and also leading the course as well, which is why I am going to be delivering this presentation. If you have any questions whilst I am on my maternity leave, then you will need to contact Mrs. Watson, who is my second in department and also one of the teachers of A-Level English Language as well. So let's get started on this walkthrough and give you a clearer idea of what you could study if you choose to take up an A-Level in English Language. Now, I wanted to begin with a summary really of the success of this course and the success of the A-Level English Language team as a whole. Now, I've included here some results from the 2019 exams, as these were our last normal exams pre-COVID-19 pandemic, and we were really proud of the results that we achieved for all of our learners. Please don't think that you need to have scored a grade 7, 8 or 9 to study A-Level English Language. We cater for a wide range of students and we have lots of support in place if you are somebody that is not necessarily confident about the subject but is very passionate about studying the subject. And we also achieved an ALPS grade of 2 for our results overall. So this does mean that we are in the top 90th to 99th percentile in the whole country for those A-level results in 2019, which we're really proud of. And this is the culmination of a lot of teamwork and of a lot of experience within the team as well. I've been teaching at Saltash now for 11 years, and the whole of that time I've been teaching A-level, and I've been leading the course for 4 years as well. So there's lots of experience and subject knowledge within the team, so you should feel really confident about what we can offer to you as a student in the sixth form. Now, I always like to start with this quotation from George Bernard Shaw. He states, "It is impossible for an Englishman to open his mouth without making some other Englishman hate or despise him." Now, it's one of those really provocative quotations that often gets students into quite heated debate, which is something we really like on the course. And it brings together lots of the things that we will study on the course as well. Attitudes towards the English language. When you speak, what judgments do people make about you? Do they assume something about your class, your educational background, how much money you make, whether you went to university or not? And do we hear certain accents or dialects and form snap judgments about them? Where do these stereotypes come from? Where are they formed? We do lots of investigation into those kinds of questions. Now, this slide will possibly make some people cringe, which is another word that could actually be on there. And it's an example of the way that new words are constantly being formed within our English language. And the way that these words are coined can come from new technology being created. So where we have something like a selfie, obviously camera phones previously only had a camera on one side, whereas now you can have your front-facing camera as well. That enables people to take a picture of themselves without asking somebody to do it for them. Thus, we needed a word to label that new technological advancement, the selfie. There are other new words created or new phrases created because of travel. So it could be that a new group of people have moved to an area. It could be that there has been a new television show with a new type of dialect featured within it, and it causes new words or phrases to become more popular, such as wagwan. Now, some people love the creation of these new words. They find it exciting, it's enriching, it means our language is in a constant state of flux, it's ever growing. But there are others who feel really concerned because they feel like some of these new words are perhaps not good enough to fit into our lexicon, our collection of words. They don't have enough prestige. And those people feel very strongly that they want to protect the English language and ensure that it is of a high standard. So we explore those kind of two camps, those two ways of thinking. You know, should the English language be very standardised and regulated, or should we allow it to grow, to become this wide, rich melting pot of lots of different backgrounds and cultures and ideas? So that's something really that we talk about lots and lots. So in year 12, you will study 4 topic areas across the year. And you begin with spoken language with one teacher and standard and non-standard English with another teacher. So you normally have 2 teachers teaching you the course for each year. Now, during Key Stage 3 and Key Stage 4, you won't have encountered a lot of spoken language text. And what I mean by that is a text where somebody has transcribed exactly what a person or people have said during a spoken exchange. So it might be that somebody has transcribed a political speech from Boris Johnson. It might be that somebody has transcribed a conversation that took place in a supermarket. And the language will be written down with symbols in it. So you will see where people paused, how long they paused for. You will see symbols to indicate changes in pitch. Did they go up really high? Did they speak really low? Did they slow down for some reason? So it's a really interesting way to look at language because, as I've said, you've mainly studied written text before. And you study lots of different texts. We look at sports commentaries, stand-up comedy, political speeches, as I've said, everyday exchanges and communication. It's a really wide range of text that you will look at. It's really interesting. And then in standard and non-standard English, we explore what the English language is. We look at the International Phonetic Alphabet. We learn how we sound out particular consonants and vowels. And then we look at attitudes towards different accents and dialects. We consider whether things like prestige pronunciation and the Queen's English have a place in our society today. So lots and lots of critical theory in that unit, and lots of linkage actually with sociology, because we do talk a lot about class and social standing and how it links into the kinds of choices we make in our own speech. And then later in the year, you look at language and power, so how language can be used to manipulate, persuade in advertising, in various political campaigns, in a classroom with a teacher and a student. So some really interesting power dynamics there. And then we also have the component 3 unit, which is all about creative writing. And this is really different to creative writing at GCSE because you look at very niche genres. So instead of just doing creative writing to describe, you'll be asked to write something very specific in terms of genre. So it could be an opening to a dystopian novel, a gothic novel. It could be that you're asked to write a script for a radio show, the words of a television trailer. So it gets very, very specific about the purpose, the form, and the audience. So if you're considering a career in some aspect of writing in the future, there are some really important skills that you will learn in that unit. And what a lot of students enjoy about the A-level English language course is how current it is. So every year we review the text that we study to respond to what is popular within the media world, for example. So Top Boy was originally a Channel 4 show, but it was picked up for some new series recommissioned by Netflix. And all of a sudden there was a new generation watching Top Boy and learning these new pieces of slang to describe various things. And it helps you to belong. If you're in a friendship group and you're able to have banter with your friends and share some of these terms that you've seen on a programme like Top Boy, it creates a sense of group identity. So we really, really do have a look at that. And of course, we do have a look at music lyrics as well, with popular figures like Stormzy and such. And some of these words, their origins are really, really fascinating. And lots of people are very dismissive of slang words, and they find that it creates kind of more segregation in society. Because if you hear a conversation where these slang words are used, and you don't understand what's being discussed, it creates a barrier. And we talk about that, barriers in communication. But if we look at it in a different way, as I said, it can create a sense of real belonging. It's really, really creative as well when you look at the origins of some of these terms. And it's really playful and fun. So, this is a really important question. Is it for me? And I've tried to kind of summarise here the key things that we study across the course. Some I've mentioned, there's a couple of new things there as well. One really important thing to think about is that you do produce a piece of coursework, well, it's called non-exam assessment now, an NEA, where you study an area of language and identity which you choose completely based on your own areas of interest. And we've had people study post-match interviews with football managers. We've had people look at makeup vlogs. We've had people compare interview techniques, say, of hosts like Ellen DeGeneres. So you really can pick anything that you would like to study, and it's worth 20% of the overall A-level as well. So it's always nice to know that some aspect of the course is already kind of in the bank. You have an idea of some of the marks that you've already achieved. And of course, it is good preparation for higher education as well. It's around 3,000 words piece of coursework, and you reference to university standard, so you're practicing that skill as well. If you've never written an essay you've had to reference properly, you work on that skill too, so it's really, really useful. And it sounds a bit doom and gloom here, but there's a statistic that says robot automation will take 800 million jobs by 2030. And obviously with the COVID-19 pandemic as well, we have seen dramatic changes to workplaces and how people work. And I think it's going to be really interesting to see which professions can survive this and adapt, and which professions will actually no longer be relevant or able to kind of function. The good news is, if you have a look at the second bullet point here, jobs requiring human interaction, such as doctors, lawyers, teachers, bartenders, are less prone to automation. That human to human communication is so important. And lots of us would have really realised that during lockdown when we couldn't necessarily have face to face interactions with those people that we would have liked to. And you would have felt the impact, the negative impact that had on you as a person. And that should really make you realise why communication is so important and why if you study A-level English language, you will gain a much more critical understanding of the ways in which we all communicate. And you yourself will become much more confident in how you use communication as well. So that's a really important thing to consider. And sometimes people can be dismissive of this A-level and say, well, do I just study English language and become an English teacher? Well, no, of course you can. That's what I did. But there are lots and lots of different career prospects out there for you. And I've just listed some of them here to give you a sense of the wide range of prospects that are available to you. And actually, if you take the time to stay on and complete the 2-year A-level, hopefully things will have settled down a little bit in the wider world and you will have this fantastic A-level in English language. You will have a much better understanding of communication and be in a really good position to go on to higher education and study something really specific and focused, or enter the job market in this kind of new world that we're moving into. So there's lots of things to be excited about, and I think that's a really good point to kind of finish on. Studying A-levels is a chance to really become engrossed in a subject, to really develop a passion for a subject. And if you speak to the students in Year 13, ask them questions, get their opinions on what they like about the course. They'll be very honest with you. They'll tell you exactly what they think, and you can get another perspective on the course as well. So, thank you very much for following through with the presentation. And if you have any questions within the next couple of weeks, then you can email myself. My email was on the first slide. And as I've said, once I begin my maternity leave, any questions or drop-ins, possibly COVID dependent, can be addressed with Mrs. Watson, who is, as I said, the second in Department for English and also one of the other teachers who teaches the course as well. Thank you very much, and hopefully this will have helped to make your decision a little bit easier about what you want to go on to study. Hope to see you soon.